12, 13, 12. To most people, this would just be a string of random numbers, but I'm here to tell you today that numbers do have a lot of meaning. To me, this is a string of numbers that has guided me towards every important choice in my life that I've made thus far, and is the foundation of my morals and beliefs about them. 12, 13, 12. December 13th, 2012. It's about 7:30 a.m. I'm a sophomore in high school, and I'm sitting in my first period psychology class. A messenger from the front office walks in, hands my teacher a blue slip. My teacher skims it, walks over to me, and places it in front of me on my desk. Apparently, I was being called down to the counseling office. I naturally was a little bit confused because I had never really had any reason to be there before, but I was happy that I got to skip a few minutes of class, or so I thought. I made my way down, and the first thing that I noticed was that the counseling office today was silent. When I got there, one of the front desk workers guided me towards this big conference room. I opened up the door, and I was definitely not alone. It seemed that they were all waiting for me there, and I was the last one to arrive. In this room, there was a big table, and around that table sat 6 of my closest friends, and standing all around the border of that room were school counselors, the principal, the vice principal, and numerous other people of administration that I had never seen before in my life. What struck me the most about this scene was the faces of my friends. Some were in shock, some were in agony, and some were completely blank. I turned to my friend who was sitting the closest to me, and he said the words that still give me chills to this day. John Matthew is dead. Here I was, a sophomore in high school, in this big conference room with some of the closest people in my life, but also complete strangers, getting the news that my best friend in the entire world had took his own life that very morning. As you can probably assume from this, I fell into a deep depression from that day. All I wanted to do was lock myself in my room, crawl in bed, and cry, and that's exactly what I did for days, weeks, months, and years. I skipped so many days of class that I was actually at risk for not graduating high school, but thankfully everyone at the school was very sympathetic towards me and the situation. I shut people out. I did not want to talk about it. I refused help from my family and my friends. I even, not only did this situation affect me mentally and spiritually, but it also affected me physically. I gained a lot of weight from not eating and not exercising. And to be quite honest, to this day, I'm still working on losing some of that weight. In short, I was simply going through the motions of life as a formality. I had no hope, I had no joy, and I had no real thoughts because all I felt was the crippling pain. To be frank, I was alive, but I was not living. It was only a few years later when I finally got to Pepperdine that I got the opportunity to have a fresh start, and I began to feel more like myself again. And truth be told, telling the story doesn't hurt any less now, but I will say that it's easier to tolerate day by day. Time really does heal all wounds. A few months ago, I was at a wedding, and I was sat next to the bride's grandmother, and we got along really well. We talked the whole night, and of course, our conversation started off as, the basics, like where you go to school, what's your major, where are you from, things like that. But of course, as the night progressed on, we got into deeper topics, and of course, my story of John Matthew came up. And I've told this story about a million times at this point, and the common reactions that I get are, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, and sometimes they don't know what to say, so they just look at me really funny. But what she did instead was she looked at me and she gave me a little hint of a smile, and she said, "You're so blessed." And for the first time in a really long time, I really felt like I was. Because of what happened to John Matthew and what he did, I am the person that I am standing here today. John taught me the importance of valuing the people that you care about, but also to value and respect yourself. His kindness, intelligence, and humility are qualities that I strive towards every single day in my life now. He showed me that pure good people really do exist in this crazy world that we live in, because he was one of them. And last but not least, he showed me what true pain feels like. But on the flip side, he also showed me that there's always a silver lining. The last thing that I want you to know about John Matthew is that he was always great at math, and he was always one with the numbers. Now, me being not quite so with the numbers and mathematics, I never quite understood why he was so fascinated and interested in that subject. So one day I asked him, and he kind of just shrugged and very nonchalantly said, "Numbers have meaning." And as always, even if I didn't realize it at the time, he was right. Numbers really do have meaning. Because on December 13th, 2012, the day that he took his own life, he also left me with his last parting gift. He showed me the meaningfulness of numbers, 12, 13,